to work out of this. Let's see. Yeah.
Also, thank you again so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
No, I kind of had intended to do it before, and I'm sorry that I'm just now doing it. Okay, so let me know when that link gets there, and then I'm going to share my screen. And really, I'm going to be honest, this is going to be like kind of messy, and hopefully that's okay.
Yeah.
But my main purpose behind this is to kind of show you how I would go about this in your shoes, right?
Okay, I have the link.
Okay. So I'll show you. You don't have to go into it yet because I'll be in it, and so it might be a little bit messy. Um, but basically, what I've done is in this folder, I put all of your original documents, and then what I did is I created a cleaning do file. Okay.
Okay.
And this is where we clean the data, and then we will create an analysis do file. The reason that we separate them is the cleaning do file allows you to clean the data and then save it as a clean data set,
Okay.
right? So all the stuff you were doing in Excel, it's going to do. And then if you ever need to make changes, you just go in and you change the code and it cleans the data and you have a new clean data set, right?
Fantastic. Okay, cool.
The other thing that I did is I made a new raw data set that
Okay.
has all of the variables that are in your Excel file.
Okay.
And I did that by clicking File, and then I clicked Import, and then I clicked Excel, and then I put the file here, and I put the first row was variable names, and then I put the variable case as lowercase, just so I don't have to deal with capitalization.
Okay.
Okay. So that is how we got to where we are. All right.
Okay.
So the first thing that I always do is I create, and I'm also telling you this so that you can do it when it's time. I always create like a preface because I typically work on more than one computer. And
Okay.
so the reason I create this preface is this way I don't have to like change my location of where I'm pulling documents from every time. Okay?
Okay.
Now, for you, the reason this is important is because when you are doing this, all you're going to have to do is put double stars right here to make my preface gone, and then you'll delete the double stars for your preface, and you just need to insert the pathway to this folder.
Okay.
Okay. And if matter of fact, if you want to send it to me via the chat box, I can insert it for you so that when it comes time, you can just do that and you'll be ready. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I need to do one other thing. Just a minute. I'm hoping this will kind of set things up. I also created a log file that's just for cleaning. And so whatever you do when you're cleaning, it'll capture those commands, okay?
Okay.
So then the next thing we do is we call the data. And so I use preface, and that inserts all of this text, and it calls this data, okay?
Okay.
Does this make sense? All right. The first thing you do when we're cleaning, usually you would drop unneeded variables, but I don't want to do that just yet. We're going to do it at the end.
Okay.
But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change these names that mean nothing to change to names that mean something.
Okay.
Okay? Because the last thing you want to do is make a mistake because the name you were like, oh, S1Q2, and you put it in the place of S2Q1,
Okay.
right? So can you tell me, do you have oh gosh, what was I going to say? Uh,
So the actual questions for the survey?
yes.
I don't have them immediately on me, but I mean, it's so the survey questions for one are the same as survey questions for two, since it's just scenario one and scenario two. So I only need seven questions, but I can look them up.
Yeah, if you can find those, and I'll keep going on this. Like I said, we're going to
Okay.
kind of workshop this. So you go ahead and find that, and when you have it, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Let me. Okay. Yeah, I have them if you are ready.
All right, you can actually share your screen.
Oh, okay. I just pulled up a visual of the survey. Is that all right?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. just so I can see it. I'll put it up on the other side. I think it'll allow us both to share simultaneously.
Can you see me?
Not yet. Maybe it won't let us share simultaneously.
It says I'm sharing. Maybe it lied.
Uh, so no, I'm wondering. I've never done it, so I actually wasn't sure what it would look like. Okay. Well, let me. Yeah, no, we're fine. So, what's the first question for
Uh, Sorry, mini screens. Okay. So the first question is if you make a mistake on this team, it'll be held against you, or it's often held against you.
we're gonna call that one S1 mistake
Okay.
for now. What's question two?
Members of this team are able to bring up problems and tough issues.
Air probs.
Okay.
Okay, what's three?
Uh, Members of this team sometimes reject others for being different.
Reject diff. All right. What's four?
It's safe to take risks on this team.
Safe risk. All right. Five.
It's difficult to ask other members of the team for help.
Difficult help. All right. All right. What was six?
No one on this team would deliberately act in a way that undermines my efforts.
Okay. It's gonna be
And
a hard one.
last, working with members of this team, my unique skills and talents are valued and utilized.
Talent valued. Okay. Now you said that these are all the same, right?
Yeah, for S2. S3 is actually belonging, so I don't know if you just want to drop that since we were going to look at it in a different study or paper.
We'll work on it just a second.
Okay.
So what you're seeing me do right here is just a way to do this a little bit quicker. Find and replace, and we're going to replace ones with twos. We're going to replace all. We're going to close this. The only one that doesn't change is supposed to be this one,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Then we can copy that and put it here. Okay. And then this should be, oh wait, something changed. No, that's right. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now what were these ones?
That's a different survey. Let me pull that up. My computer's thinking about it. I will have to get back to you on that one.
That's okay.
I can pull
And
it
you're
up,
saying
but oh, sorry, go
we're
ahead.
not using these right now anyway,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this to this way you can use this when it's time. Okay. I'm gonna start. All right. So some of the ones that we can drop, we're gonna drop all the strings. We don't really need them. Don't really need those for now either. The reason I do this here is it makes it easier to go back and keep it if you decide you want it, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So when I hit Control D, oh, sorry. I hit Control D and gen, oh, equals missing. Sorry. All right. It didn't open it. All right. So now every time I run this do file, right, it does all these things. And that way I can check my data to see what it looks like, right? So you'll see it changed all of our names to these more helpful names.
Okay.
Okay. Now we still have these S3s. They're still here. And so since we're not using those, I'm going to separate them out so that it's easier for you to bring them back. Because all you'll need to do is to star this code, right?
Okay.
All right. So now I can run it again. Now those are gone. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty.
didn't know you could drop and re-add them. I thought dropping was permanent.
Like if you were to do it, yeah. So that's where, and that's why like using the do file is so helpful because basically the reason it's not permanent, Catherine, is because I'm not saving the data at the end, right? I have saved this raw data, and
Okay.
every time I start over, when I do this capture or clear all, it just erases everything I did to the data and starts over.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Now, now look at the bottom down here. When we are done, we are going to save a new data set and we are going to call it PS Catherine Project Clean Data.
Okay.
And so this is the one that will have been cleaned via the do file.
Got it. Okay.
And again, the best part of this is let's say that you start doing the analysis in the PS Catherine project data, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I deleted a variable that I need. All I've got to do is come back to my cleaning do file and run it again, fixing the thing that I dropped, and it will save this new clean data set, and then I'll do my analysis in the clean data set. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes. Cool.
So the do file is just like it's so helpful because the other thing, like let's say that you decide you want to change the names, that's totally fine. So all of this are can be helpful. All right. So now that we've kind of named these, maybe I'll move forward to this, then we can come back to these other ones. I just want to show you how to do like factors to kind of see what these look like,
Yeah.
right? So factors for psychological safety. So this is where we have to think a little bit about how we think these are going to stick together. And basically what a factor is doing is it's looking at each individual person and it's trying to determine how often they answer the questions the same way,
Okay.
right? And so, oh, let's see. We will do factor and let's do you think all of are these scenarios really close together or are they very different?
Half of them are reverse coded, so I don't know how the data is going to analyze that to begin with, as far as similarity goes.
Yeah. It shouldn't make a difference,
Okay.
but we will. All right, let's have a look see at this and see what it does. All right. So, what this is telling us is that these variables hang together pretty well because their eigenvalue, which is basically a score for how much they're close together, is above a 2. So, if it's above a 2, it means it's hanging out well together, okay?
Okay.
And you look at this, a lot of times you might have variables that could be divided up into multiple factors,
Mhm.
okay? But this one, it's like, no, like these 7 questions, they are answering them very similarly. That's why, like, the reverse coding in this particular test doesn't matter because it's about how I answered it, right? So you see here that you've only got the one factor, and then down here, these are the loadings on that factor.
Okay.
And so it's showing us that these are actually pretty evenly loaded. Like that these but not one of these is totally out of whack and with others because sometimes what you'll find is like there's one question where everybody actually answers it very differently. And so the loading would be a lot lower,
Okay.
right? But here they're all pretty close. The only one that's low is this one, but it's still above 5. And so it's a pretty good indicator. Okay.
Cool.
Um so that's one part of this. The Now you're not going to do structural equation modeling,
I
right?
wasn't planning on it, no.
Okay. And so what we will do is we will do predict, and then we will call this, let's see, what is scenario one?
Scenario one is lateral psychological safety as opposed to vertical. So it's what's your sense of psychological safety among coworkers and peers, things to that effect.
Okay, so we'll do this predict lateral safety. And what this did is it just created a variable, a continuous variable that we can include in some of our regressions.
Okay.
Okay. The biggest challenge with this is like it's hard to know, like it'll tell us direction, but it won't really tell us like how much of a direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That
So like we're a
magnitude.
little more cautious with these variables.
Okay.
Um, all right, let me do the other one too. But these are all things that you're going to want to,
Yeah.
kind of report on. All right, so we'll do this. And this one is,
Vertical psychological safety.
all right, so now let's have a look at this one. So this one similarly has a really strong eigenvalue. So we know that it's a strong factor. They hang together.
Cool.
And it similarly has pretty strong loadings, right? So this is a pretty good one. And you'll notice like down here, it's telling us like, yes, this is the one factor. Because normally what we would do with these are like with this variable, this is now a latent construct. So
Okay.
I can put this into a structural equation model pretty easily.
Okay.
But that may be after if we decide that you want to try and publish this using structural equation modeling.
Okay.
So just letting you know that's what happens there.
Got it.
Okay. So now we have some statistical evidence that vertical safety and lateral safety are actually like capturing a valid
Valid.
concept,
Okay.
right? And I guess it's more reliable. It's a reliable concept because
Okay.
they're answering them in the same way. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now let's go back and let's just kind of look at some of your more basic variables. So this idea of male, female, transgender. So in order to use it in a regression, we are going to need to have one category, and that's going to become the reference category.
Okay.
Um, Now we're going to leave these the same, but what do you? So male is anybody that's a male. Female is anybody that's a female, right?
Yeah. Female or woman, man or male.
And are we keeping transgender and non-binary at this point?
I feel like we should drop them as outliers because there's six out of
Okay.
450. I feel like it's just not enough data to be meaningful. And correct me if I'm wrong there, but because I'm not doing the same thing for race, which feels problematic, so I'm not really sure.
Well, it just depends on how we categorize race.
That's fair.
I do think you're right. So if we were to drop if, and it's transgender, right? I mean,
Yeah, non-binary and transgender. Uh,
gender.
would we also be dropping the missing variables, the people who didn't answer?
Probably. Oh, do you have a lot of missing?
13, I think, in gender. Yeah, because we had one transgender person, five non-binary, and 13 no answers for gender. So I'm not sure if that's
And that's GP no answer.
yes.
And what is it? It's one in this?
I think I categorized
Yeah, 13. Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. All right. Now we are going to drop these variables. All right. And the reason we're doing it here is now you can always go back to your log and see what happened when you did it,
Okay.
right? All right. So again, now watch this. I'm going to hit Control D and it's going to run the whole file again for me. And it does it in seconds, right?
Okay.
But I do it that way because now I can go back and look at my data and see, okay, what does it look like, right?
Mhm.
So I see male, female, and what is this DQ string? Is this the male, female string?
Yeah, so that's gonna be the they actually
All
wrote it
right.
out.
All right. Get rid of these just so it keeps us all clean, right?
Hmm.
And the nice thing is, again, you can always put these back if you're like, oh, I can't remember. I need to go look at that again. You can bring it back super easy just by deleting it out of the drop,
Cool.
right? And then I keep them separated so that they're easier to connect as well. Okay.
Okay.
So there we go. Oh, and just another thing, Catherine, in case you're seeing this. So I'm putting here at the end because that stops the process, right?
Okay.
Command here is not recognized. That is just how I make sure that it doesn't save a new data set because I'm not ready to do that.
Okay. No, this is helpful. This is like the user stuff that I'm like, they don't note this in the YouTube video. So this is
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. So now, for example, if we do tab mail, now you're going to see we only have 431 observations,
Right.
right? Which is more accurate and probably what we have. And it looks right that 203 of those are male, 228 are female,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so now let's take a look at racial category. So I need to have this be a categorical variable
Okay.
because it'll just be easier for me to use it in a regression, okay?
Right.
And so what I'm doing is I'm generating a variable called race categorical. I'm calling it COL because I that's how I use it in my mind. You can use whatever you want.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm going to recode. And you'll notice I put period because that means that now, right, there's no observations in this right now. It just has everything is missing because
Okay.
period is missing
Right.
in stata and won't count it. So I'm going to recode race collapsed equals one if, what do we want our first category to be?
I mean, white's the 75%. So
So white.
we can,
So
I mean,
if,
so if we wanted to, so talking about outliers, so Asian, Black, white, Hispanic, and mixed account for about 97%. Middle Eastern, Latino, Latina, Jewish, and Middle Eastern were all like less than 1 or 2%.
okay, we'll probably merge Hispanic and Latino.
Okay.
Um, and we'll probably have another category, which I hate. And I
Okay.
know that Christina's going to hate that.
What's the other category? Oh, and
It's going to
indigenous was
be
literally one guy.
yeah, indigenous, Middle Eastern. Maybe we'll put those all into one category. Okay. So our next one, we're gonna recode
Yeah, so Asian
Ray
was the second most or largest, I believe.
to is Asian equals one.
Okay. So this is so you re-entered the dummy coding that I originally put in for Excel. it looks like. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I was like, oh, I don't need dummy codes, and then I did other things, and now I feel like I've messed everything up.
No, and dummy codes can be really helpful. Like for example, with like male female, they're really helpful if like I want to see males compared to others. Like
Yeah.
it's helpful. It's just I need it both ways,
Okay.
right? Like because it's just easier for the regression part to do that.
Okay. No, good to know. This
Okay.
is just a stata thing. So yeah. Okay. So black would be next.
And black,
Mhm. Black or African American.
it is what's it called? Black?
Black, yes.
Okay. And I'll show you another thing in just a second. But yes, all right. And then what was the fourth?
Probably mixed would be the next largest.
Oh, it's not Hispanic?
Oh, Hispanic. I mean, there's both. So if we're going alphabetically or by majority, they're more mixed than Hispanic.
Okay.
Admittedly, for mixed, people just started listing things. So if you put more than two races or ethnicity, so bi and multiracial, some people did put a variation of mixed, but some people just started listing things, and I'm like, you're gonna be in the mixed category.
So we're gonna call Latino also Hispanic.
Okay,
And then we are gonna do mixed will be next
you got two fours. Oh, because they're the same category. I see what you're
because
doing.
they're gonna be the same category, yeah. And it's mixed, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Uh,
then we are going to, oh, go ahead.
yeah. If you want to include all the other ones, those are the ones I was talking about, where I'm not sure if we should combine or drop them. But yes, that would be Indigenous, Middle Eastern, Jewish. And I guess technically no answer. I want to say there was only like there weren't too many of those.
If, oh, there were no answers. Okay, we need to handle that.
Which one?
Um, the no answer, we're gonna probably drop them.
Okay.
See how many that is.
Yeah.
Six.
It's
Does
not
that sound
many.
right?
Yeah. It's not,
Okay.
there aren't that many.
Okay. Perfect. Just again to clean it up. All right. And then if race collapse equals missing. All right. Now let's have a look, see at what happens to our thing. A minute. Oh, I think I did it backwards. Yeah, I did it backwards. Let's try that. Hang it.
Can you use recode for categories? I thought we had to use replace for categories.
Oh, because these are all quantitative right now.
Okay.
Oh, just a minute. I got to think about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did it in this other one. Oh, you're right. I'll use replace. And I can use recode when I'm doing it all together. You're right. Good call. See, Catherine, you learned all of this.
I'm trying. Yeah, like none of this is intuitive to me. So yeah, I actually have been trying and studying and all that fun stuff.
All right, let's see if it'll run. Uh, oh, I put a plus sign. Good. That's what I meant to do. But I
All
do love just
right.
like how fast it is. Okay. So now let's take a look at our variable. Okay. So does this look pretty right?
We're still missing the indigenous groups. I'm not sure if you wanted to combine those into a separate group. So
It,
for
it should be all of this. It should be these five.
uh so okay, so Jewish, there are four Jewish people. I want to say there's like three Middle Eastern and then one indigenous.
They
So
probably were missing sex, and
oh,
we've already
maybe
deleted.
that's it too. Okay. Yeah, that's very possible. Okay,
And
yeah,
you
then
can
that sounds
always
about
go
right.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always go back and look if you're ever worried about it, okay?
Okay, cool.
But yes, I bet that's why. I bet that's
Okay,
why they're missing. All right, so now we have got to like these numbers don't mean anything to me when I run this analysis, right?
right.
So now I've got to label, let's see. Just a minute. I
So
don't do this enough anymore to like,
no, I
there we go.
appreciate your help. So now do we turn it into a recode for to make it from qualitative to quantitative?
No, no, because it's always we always want it to be quantitative. We just also want to give it a name.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label define, and I'm going to call this, oh, we'll call it race values. Right? Well, we'll do race names just to avoid the value. So one is going to be white.
Okay.
Two is going to be Asian. Three is going to be black. Four is going to be Hispanic Latino. Okay.
Okay.
Five is going to be or multi-race. We'll call it multi-race. Oops. All right. And then six, we're going to call indigenous.
Um, but that includes majority of Jewish people, like of the
Yeah.
groupings in there.
Yeah.
So if we're just going by majority, there's, like I said, there's four Jewish people, like three or four Middle Eastern people, and then one indigenous person.
We're
Again,
going to call it other for now. We'll
okay.
worry about that. All right. So now these are race names. Oops. We're going to label value race collapse race names. Okay, so what this is doing is we are defining the label by saying ones are whites, twos are Asian, threes are black or African, fours are Hispanic, five is multiracial,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And then we are labeling the values of this variable with the names that we just gave it race names,
Okay.
okay? So now when I run this code, it ran the code, and I do tab race collapse. Oh, dang it. Why didn't it work? I've got something spelled wrong, or I've done something wrong. Labeled fine. Why would it not?
Do we need an underscore on race names? Define race underscore names? Is that what
Oh, yep, that's it.
or
That
underscore?
is
Yeah.
of this
Teamwork.
is you chance to do
No, I
this.
get this. This was my biggest problem when we did our statistical classes with SPSS because they gave you instructions, but they didn't tell you what to do if it didn't run. And so you're just sitting there like, I have no idea why this isn't working.
And again, that's like again the beauty of the do file is like I can run it 1,000 times and it just like until I find what's wrong and it always will tell me right like where the problem is because it'll be like here it was like hey well yeah other than that one didn't give it to me but this one's like hey
Yeah.
this word here isn't a code right. All right, so now we have our race and we have our sex. We'll leave these here for now.
Okay.
What is DQ3A?
It's going to be the demographic question to whatever three was. If you pulled it, I imagine it's maybe the string for tenure.
Okay. Yeah, looks like no, yes. Okay. We're going to get rid of that one too because we have tenured, right?
Oh, if it's 3A, it's a sub question. So it's asking if they're part-time and if they want to be full-time. So we can get rid of those again. That's something I can break down into another one. So if it's an A, it's a sub question. So we can drop those.
No, I mean, we might as well clean it while we're here. So this is sub, what is it for?
So
If they want it
if
full-time,
they wanted to
part-time?
be if they wanted to be full-time. If the answered so the question was, are you tenured or non-tenured in this question? And then it was, if you are not tenured, would you like to be on tenured track? That was the sub question. But again, so of the people who answered full-time versus part-time, only like less than 5% were part-time. So I'm wondering if, again, we should kind of remove those as outliers.
Oh, yeah. No, well, doesn't matter. We'll leave it for now.
Okay.
Um, there's 130 people that answered that, so that's substantive. All right, and we just
I think that might be, I might have confused that as, because there were only 25, or there was only like less than 5% part-time participants. So not everyone would have answered yes or no. So it would have only been like 12 answers to that question, if that makes sense. So I think I might have ones and zeroed that when I should have done something different. Does that make sense?
Oh,
So if I
oh,
just
no,
went
no,
through and
you
wrote
had.
zero for everything, then that wouldn't make sense.
No, I see. So yeah, what do we can we figure out what because here's the want tenure question. Want FTE.
So there's a sub question of do you want to be tenured and there's a question of do you want to be full time because I asked both questions. So there's two
Okay.
sub questions in the survey.
All right. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we can just get rid of sub questions for now, and then if you want them,
Yeah.
I'll let you figure that out after we do this.
If I
Um,
had a more substantive part-time faculty findings, I would go into that more, but since I only got like less than 5% respondents, I don't even think it's worth investigating. If I had
yeah.
more like 50-50 response, it would have been worthwhile, but it's just not.
All right. So let's see. This want tenure we are going to get rid of, but it's not there. Just a minute.
Yeah.
I just need to rerun this so that the label's right again. Okay, there we go.
Cool.
So these are the ones. All right, I just need to make sure. I'm going to delete that. Okay. So tell me of these, which ones are sub questions that we don't want anymore?
The ones that have A behind them. So the DQ3A, that's going to be a sub question, and DQ4A, that's going to be a sub question.
Any others?
Well, so it looks like the one right below it is going to be yeah. So we've got,
That's okay.
yeah.
We can leave those for now. Those are, you may be interested in those at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so we run this again. Now we have to look at these variables. So tenured, what is tenured?
Their status. So tenured, on tenured track, or not on tenured track.
And that looks about right, 207 to 218.
There should be, oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. The majority were tenured, so that makes sense.
All right. And what?
So DQ5H
Hold
lat.
on just a minute. This is
Yeah.
saying that the majority are not tenured.
Or I'm sorry, I might have misremembered that. I had them all.
Okay.
I didn't have them dummy coded, so I was looking at different metrics in
Okay.
the old one. Um,
Okay. What are these variables?
okay, so DQH5 lat is the hours spent interacting laterally with your coworkers and peers.
All right, hold on just a
DQ6,
second.
yeah, yeah.
We'll just do this.
Yeah, essentially these are the last six questions of the survey. So they're all demographic questions, or not, they're there in the demographic section, I guess, and
Sorry.
no, I appreciate your help. I imagine this is one of the harder parts about working collaboratively and quantitative data is like, oh, that makes sense to me, and then doesn't necessarily make sense to anybody else.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So this is hours lateral.
Yep. Yeah, hours per week spent working directly with people laterally around them.
Okay. What's this one?
Hours vertical, same thing. How many hours a week do you spend working with people directly above you? This is time in current role. It's years technically, but years in current role.
Okay.
Time at current organization.
Okay.
Satisfaction with institutional environment, or just satisfaction if you want to be.
Is this a Likert scale?
Yep, these last three are all Likert scales.
This one?
Likelihood of voluntary departure. Voluntary departure is kind of what I've, yeah.
Okay.
And likelihood of referring a friend. Would you refer a friend to work at this institution?
And
And
then what's this one?
I don't know what CQ is. That's the end of the survey, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a nothing. It
Okay.
just came in as a variable. That happens sometimes.
Okay.
All right. And we're gonna get rid of that down here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And we should have pretty clean. And then the other thing that we are going to do is those satisfaction variables are a factor.
Okay.
So satis and like refer like voluntary departure, comma PCF, which is principal component factor analysis.
Hmm.
We're going to run this just to see what it looks like. Again, we have an eigenvalue barely above 2, so it's not super strong,
Hmm.
but it is enough.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That's pretty clean, right?
I hope
I think
so.
we've got all of our variables. Go ahead.
So I'm not sure. So with things like hours per week, like, do I need to reorganize or relabel that? Because again, I just don't know if I entered anything right. I'm questioning all the things I did. So that's the categorical label that I gave them. One is less than an hour, and then I labeled them.
Oh.
So that's how I did it in Stata. Um,
Do do you have the raw hours per week?
so it was a drop down. So I had them
Oh.
choose. Um,
Okay. No, so this is categorical then.
okay, yeah.
All right. No, that's fine.
Is that so? It's
So now
okay.
we're gonna,
Okay.
what's that?
No, I was asking. I'm like, so, and it's the same thing with current time and current role. I also had them do a drop down of years.
Um, so let's do the 2 hours ones are the same, right?
Correct. Yes, as well as the 2 years ones. Yeah, so I just went into Stata and I created a value label, and that's how I did that. Is that not the right?
Yeah. We're gonna do label define
So I guess
hours.
is
And
there
what
a
was one again? Oh, go
uh
ahead.
I guess what's the difference between doing this in the do file versus doing the point and click of going to value label and entering like that? Because that's what I did, and I'm just not sure if that's wrong. So you
It's
see
it's
the
not wrong, but here's the problems with it.
okay,
One is it's really hard to remember what you've done,
okay,
and it's going to take significantly longer
okay,
because you're going to have to go through each one and add it, right? So you don't remember, like you might have your log, but like it's a lot harder for you to recreate it, right?
okay,
Like if you were to have found a problem, like imagine that you found that you had accidentally entered somebody's time on your Excel file or whatever, or you got 10 more respondents. You have to go back through and do that process again, right? Does that make sense? Like,
I'm wondering if maybe I did so, but you know what? Do you know what I'm talking about with the creating a variable label?
yeah, like coming up here to data like this,
I did not do that.
create a new variable.
No, so
No,
yeah, I went down to the variables. So, and under properties, if you go to a variable label and you unlock them, and then you have to click the little unlock thing, or else it's not going to let you in this screen. You have to go, and then you unlock it, and then you click the little three buttons. Three, you got buttons next to the side,
yeah.
and then you
Oh, and you
create.
created it in here.
Yeah, is that different or not what I'm supposed to be doing? Because
No, you
okay,
can do that, but again, it's like you're not keeping track of your steps,
okay,
and it's a lot easier to like do it in the do file and then copy it and paste it to make another one,
okay,
right?
okay. No,
Yeah,
I
no,
just
that's there's 100 ways to do it, but yeah, that's fine.
okay,
But
no,
I would encourage this.
okay. No, okay, no, totally cool. I just wasn't sure if I was getting different results because I entered it in differently.
No.
That was my question. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no, you're good.
this is a 15 item drop down, so I don't know if you want to maybe do years instead if we're just doing sample data and I can fill in the years
No,
and
no. Well,
hours
this
one
is
on
this
my
is
own.
yours. Like you're going to be able just to jump into this. So,
Okay.
which one of these is your do file or
I don't know if I
sorry,
sent you
your
my do file. I think I just sent you my log and my
yeah. So okay.
findings.
So here's your log. Let's look at your log if it'll let me open it.
Yeah, and like I said, my log was real because I was doing everything like in my log and I didn't know. Yeah, I wasn't using my
Using my
do file as a recipe book.
recipe book. Okay. All right. No, no, that's fine. Really fast. So tell me what the categories are.
Less than 1 hour. And then two is
Second, I'm trying to decide how I want to write this. All right, and then two.
1 to 3 hours, and then it just goes in intervals. Three is 4 to 6. Four is 7 to 9.
Oh, whoops. 7 to 9.
Yep. Five is 10 to 12. And so
It goes
this,
up by two every time.
yep, till 40 plus hours. But again, so if you want to stop at 8, like that accounts for, I want to say 92%. I can't see the little thing under the thing, but at that the majority of people operate within these first 8 levels. 10 to 12. Yeah.
Right?
15. 13 to 15.
Seven was
16 to 18.
and eight.
Be 19 to 21.
And then after this, it's everything else is what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then nine.
Yeah, 22 to 23.
We're just going to say greater than
Yeah, greater than,
21 or 22 or greater.
yeah,
Either way, however you want to say it.
yeah.
All right. Now we're going to have to recode that variable. But we'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
Label, label value. All right. Which ones are our variables here? The hours ones. How are we doing on time? We're doing okay. All right. So this is going to be wrong because we've still got some stuff going on. Yeah, so 10, 11, 12, 13. So we've got to recode this. See if I did that right. Yeah, I gotta remember how I'm. No, it's not gonna let me do it. Let's try this. Okay. Now,
Oh, it's only 15. Oh, sorry.
nope, that's perfect. Glad you said it. There we go. And this is ours. Is this vert? Is that right?
Yep. Vertical.
Okay. Okay. Let's try this. Now, there we go. Okay. That's fine. Now we got to do the same for years. So years, how many categories are in the years ones?
Up to 15, so I want to say five. So it's less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, same thing. 4 to 6 years, 7 to 9 years, and then up to 15 plus years.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah. So less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 4 to 6. Yeah. Except after 13 to 15, I stopped. So it's seven. So seven is 15 or more years, or more than 15 years, I guess.
Okay.
Believe so. Yep.
So we have this years. Now time. Okay. All right. Looks good. All right. So now I'm going to get rid of this and we're going to create that clean do file. But again, I'm doing this because I want you to see, Catherine, that like it's not going to get rid of your other do file. Or sorry, your other data. We still have the raw data, but now it's created this clean data set for you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's a few different ways to do this. We can create a like an analysis do file, and we'll do this same thing up here, but we'll call the data from your raw data,
Okay.
or we can just do the analysis down here. I don't know if you have a preference, but I'll make another one just so that we keep going around the best way to do this. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
So I capture this, and I have this, and I'm gonna do this. And so again, all you'll need to do is replace the preface, right, to call the data. And save this one. And we're gonna save this one as Catherine's analysis do file. Spell it correctly though. All right, so now we need to make sure we're calling the right data. I'm trying to get it to let me copy this. I'm calling the right data, and we're going to call this analysis is our log.
Okay.
Now, we don't need to save this data because we're never going to want to save it, right? Because
Right.
this is our clean data, so we never need to save it. So now we have this. And so let's try I mean, this is probably where I would create my tables. This is
Oh,
where
okay.
I would do my regressions.
Okay.
I would do it all in this log file because you're going to have a separate log for cleaning and a separate log for analysis,
Okay.
right? So, I don't know, and this might be the place where you can kind of play with it on your own, but let's go ahead and we'll put tables and then we'll do regression. So let's try a regression just to do it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
what is our outcome? What's that?
Oh, yeah. So we've got our psychological safety scale findings would be our outcome, theoretically.
So we are going to say it's probably this.
Yes.
And
So
we
we've
have
got
two
lateral
different
and
ones.
vertical. Yeah.
So our safety is what we're trying to see.
Right.
And we want to know if being a male impacts that. We want to know, and then this is the whole reason for this hour-long conversation was so that I could show you that to make something categorical, you have to add the I before it.
Okay.
So we want to know if race does. What are some other things that we would put in here?
Aside from gender, it's time spent. So we're going to be looking at that time spent per week. So if lateral safety is influenced by the amount of time spent with the person per week or interacting per week, so hours lateral week.
And just lateral or vertical or both?
So we're looking at lateral safety. So we can cross compare, but based on Tinto's model, the assumption is that the more time you spend with someone, assuming you're having good interactions, would increase your psychological safety. So if you're spending more time with them and you have bad psychological safety, you're probably having bad experiences with these people.
This is going to make a big regression. Um, all right. Any other variables that we want to know? We've got
This for
sex.
Yeah, sex, race, time and current role, time and current organization. I mean, we could go through all of them, but I think this is a great place to start.
All right. And I'm just going to look and see.
Yeah.
Tenured. Right. We want tenured.
Yeah.
And maybe that's probably tenured is probably good. Sorry, I'm just looking to see just because we'll put it in here.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's see. What will our regression look like? So now when it pulls your regression,
Mhm.
there's a few things that you need to know.
Got it.
So what this is saying is that if I am male, my psychological safety is higher than females, and this is statistically significant,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
For race, you have to figure out which category is not included. 9 times out of 10, it is the biggest category.
Okay.
And so this becomes what is called your reference category.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
So
it.
white is the reference. And so now we are comparing Asians to whites.
Got it.
And when we look at it, there's no statistical difference, right?
Okay.
For blacks, we see that black faculty, there is a negative relationship between being black and psychological safety compared to whites,
Right.
right? Latino, it looks like that one is also not statistically significant,
Mhm.
but it's close. Multiracial is not significant, as is other is not significant. Okay. That aligns with what you
Yeah.
found in your analysis, right?
Yeah. Honestly, just
Good.
looking at the data, you can kind of see that.
Yeah. And then tenured, it looks like
Not a huge
is
difference.
this tenure track or is this actually being tenured?
So I broke it down to tenured, on tenured track, or not on tenured track.
Okay. So this is tenured compared to everybody else.
It would appear so, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's fine. Hours per week, this is compared to the category that is missing is less than an hour.
Hmm. Okay.
And it looks like what we're seeing is the only ones that are significant is when we get up to this spot, 16 to 21 at the 0.05 level. It's not even super strong,
Right. And
but
again,
that's
this is all
helpful.
lateral. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Time and current roll.
so this is where,
There's no.
oh God.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so
No, go ahead.
does this break it down? So this was the thing. I was gonna run men versus women because just looking at the descriptive statistics seems like there is a slight inverse relationship with so actually that's vertical. Never mind. Sorry. I'm talking about vertical psychological safety, not lateral. Um
Well, keep in mind this compares men to women.
so across the board, so this is men and women being compared across time in okay, cool. No, that is clarifying. I appreciate that.
Um, and then it looks like time in current role that's not statistically significant. Neither is time in current organization. So take
Cool.
that for what it's worth. All right, so that's your first regression. Let's do your second one.
Okay. Yeah, and then it's pretty much just going to be the same thing except oh, sorry, never mind. Oh yeah, so the same thing, just vertical safety.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess we could add an enrollment if you just want to throw all the things in there, but
Yeah, I mean you're gonna want to play with it. Like that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
nice thing about this now is it's easy to this is a lot easier to kind of just mix and match and male tenured vert.
Cool.
Did I spell it wrong?
Nope, that's correct.
Okay. And then we said enrollment, right?
If you want to add that, obviously we can just do this to for comparison. It's up to you.
Where is enrollment? I don't have enrollment.
Oh, maybe I added it to the STATA list and not the other one.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not on
nope.
here.
Okay, that's fine. I can
Um,
edit it.
yeah, we can find it later.
Okay, so we just got to take and roll off of that last one, and we can run it again.
There was something else I was going to add though, because I
Oh,
saw it. Oh, this stem.
oh yeah. Are they in a STEM field or are they not in a STEM field?
Let's leave it off for now, and then we can add it and see if it makes a difference.
Okay,
Because it's going to be correlated with male, female. All right. So here we see that this one is not significant between men and women. And it is significant for Hispanic and Latinos, but not blacks. And it is significant if you have more than 21 hours. It's kind of interesting. Those are the only two in this one.
yep.
Let me add STEM in. And STEM is not significant, and it does not capture that. Did it make any of our other ones? No, they're still significant. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe add STEM in here too. All right. So we can run this. And then just to kind of show you, your log file will change every time, right? Because you're running it every time you run it.
Right.
But you can always go check out your analysis now as a text file. And these are also easier to share with people, but it'll have your regressions for you to copy and paste into Excel or whatever you want to use to make your tables.
Cool.
One thing you've got to remember is you have to tell the reader what your reference category is. So you do that by going here and then ref. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Catherine. I think this hopefully will give you and again, um, gosh, I'm really bummed that enrollment is not on there because you're gonna have to like bring it back in.
No, it's
And
okay. I'm gonna have to play with the data
Hopefully
anyway. I'm gonna go through all of this all over again, so
well, but and keep in mind, like, I mean, I hope this gives you all the tools to make it go a lot faster and like, and also again, the thing I was most worried about when I saw your regression was like that it wasn't capturing these different categories, right?
right,
Because if you don't do it this way, it assumes that one, two, three, four, five, that those that's numerical,
right.
right? And it's not. These are different categories. So anyway,
Nope, this
these
has been
are
incredibly
now
helpful.
yes, hopefully. And you can, like I said, just put your stuff in there and hopefully it will be easy for you to work with.
Yeah, I'm gonna run over this over the weekend, and if you're comfortable with it, I'll send you an updated version of all my new actually clean and accurate data next week, if that's okay. We
Yeah,
can.
and just add it to this folder
Okay.
and tell me when you've done it, and then I'll